Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
What I've said, and you know what I've done, and you know what we're doing, and you know what I know what you're doing.
And what you're doing is watching Talking with TalksALot, the variety talk show where the viewers come to feel better about themselves because they finally have a comparison. Joining me today is the fabulous random bald man from the internet, Brahmabull. Hello,
how's it going, everybody? How are you?
I'm good, bro. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Another week starting. My Avalanche are doing great in the playoffs so far. So, yeah, can't complain.
All right. Real quick, let's take a moment to see the chat. Hello, Vince. As always, it's fantastic to see you, sir. Omega Star Productions. Good to see you in the chat, sir. I'm glad that you made it. And then there's the random ball guy from the internet. I love calling you that, by the way. Don't mean any offense, but it's a Cards Against Humanity thing. So
I've been random bald guy since I was about 19, so no big deal.
All right. Release the McCracken. Do not come. I'm gonna come. Lasso of Truth. Hello. I'm so happy to see you, Lasso. It's awesome.
McCracken's been doing some great memes.
Dude, his memes are top notch. Like, it's hilarious. That man knows what's up. Or chick. Dude, I don't know. I'll gladly misgender you and say you're a guy because you have the personality for it. So
yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, so this is going to be a normal everyday live stream. So, Mr. Brahmabull, what is your favorite type of entertainment between movies, books, television, music?
At the moment, I mean, I guess it's still some television series. I mean, because I can get a lot more enjoyment out of that than I can the one-off on a movie. Or, I mean, I still read books every single day. I mean, every night. That's how I fall asleep, is reading a book on the Kindle or whatever. And I mean, I thoroughly enjoy that. But I mean, I've gone through some series so many times that it's just you know, it's hard to find new series of books that you really can dig into. And I'm not big on giving books more than a few chapters try if it doesn't catch my attention.
I feel you.
But TV shows, there's so much we can even go back to and rewatch that I've forgotten and stuff like that. So I mean, love stuff like Battlestar Galactica. I mean, both the old one and the new one. Just watched Outer Range yesterday. Well, all weekend. I killed the whole first series of Outer Range, which it's pretty good. It was enjoyable enough. Yellowstone and 1883 both got my attention. I mean, there's still some good stuff coming out that that is not having the issues that we have with some of the comic book related stuff. So we just don't talk about those as much. So
So what's your preferred genre for TV?
I don't know anymore. I mean, I used to like the sci-fi stuff. Fantasy has gotten all just too CW'd to really like it because it's so
good way to put it.
So really it's going to be stuff, I mean, like Yellowstone. I mean, I've been enjoying the Westerns kind of coming back, and my cousin, her ex-husband is actually knows the guy, used to rodeo with the guy that did Yellowstone, the producer and writer.
Really?
So we've got a little connection there, even though it's, you know, multiple terms away from us. But so I mean, the whole family it caught our attention when it first came out, because it was like, we sideways know this guy, so we'll see what he's doing. And it turned out pretty good. I mean, he's genuine. He actually does have a ranch and he does do all this stuff. So
nice.
I mean, that's part of what makes the show good, I think, is, you know,
absolutely.
it's still a fictional story, but but the stuff they're doing in the show, as far as what they're doing with the animals and how a ranch actually works, you know, that
adds
part
enough
is
realism
that's
to make
real.
it engaging. That's good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So yeah.
So when it comes to books and stuff, like, what do you prefer to read? Do you like the more fantasy oriented stuff? Do you like more true story?
Yeah, definitely very much into fantasy. In fact,
Okay.
let's see if we can zoom out. It might you might even be able to see the bookshelves. Yeah, so I got some Dune, got all the Star Wars stuff there, got Brandon Sanderson down here in the corner, got all the Robert Jordan books, Dark Tower from Stephen King.
That's my favorite.
I've gone through all of them. Yeah, Dark Tower is really what got me into everything back in the day. I read it in high school, and it's still one of my favorites.
That book series was a ride, man. Like, because I had to piecemeal the books at first. Like, I got the first one when I was young-ish, and like I read through it, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good." And then, like, I just randomly came across Drawing of Three, and I was all like,
and it's completely different.
Yeah, it's complete. Each book is kind of like that. Where like the fifth book,
Song of Susanna,
I didn't like that one very much, but it was okay. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great, but
after the wait, I mean, it was something, because for those of us who read it real time, you know, the Gunslinger, Drawing of Three, and the Wastelands kind of were probably out at the time that I started reading it. Wizard in the Glass may have just come out.
Yeah.
But then it was like, 12, 13 year wait. I mean, it's kind of like George Martin. I mean, we were not sure it was ever going to be completed. And when we finally did get it, Song of Susanna wasn't great, but it was at least dipping back into that world.
Yeah. And
then it was quick hits after. So.
Did you read Wind Through the Keyhole?
Yeah. I think that's the only one that I've only read once.
Yeah.
All the rest of them I've read so many times it's not funny.
Yeah. And that's weird when with the Wind Through the Keyhole, because it's an insert in between like either 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. Yeah. Like where he's telling a story of his youth and stuff. And I thought it was going to be like the capstone book. And I was hoping it was going to be the capstone book where Roland finally gets it right. But like the way he ended that series was also, in my opinion, fabulous. Just simply for the fact that he was all like, start over.
I enjoyed it. Like, I just, the part that makes me upset about the ending, and it has nothing to do with the books. It has to do with what Hollywood then tried to do with the Dark Tower, because they took that as we can change things up and do an adaptation, like they keep saying, kind of like they did with Wheel of Time. Yeah. And they change everything and say, well, no, it's just another time through. So,
the thing that got me with the movie was like they did a decent job nailing down enough details that this isn't about race, but they shouldn't have picked Idris Elba. He did a fantastic job. He has the right attitude and stuff. But in the books, Roland is described as a Clint Eastwood looking kind of character. Steely eyes, pale. He's a knight, if you will, Germanic style knight. And
in the second book, there's some hard racism towards him because he's a white man.
Yep.
So you take out the ability to take that series any further by making changes that don't make sense.
The movie felt like a half-assed way to end the entirety of the book series, because you could tell from certain details, like the horn on his hip and stuff like that, that it was supposed to follow the second book or the seventh book.
Yeah.
But it was haphazard. It didn't have the same heart as the books. And while I could totally disconnect it and be like, that's a fan fiction of it, like Stephen King doesn't allow for fan fiction, really, especially when it comes to movies. He's kind of a douchebag when it comes to making movies. And I'm surprised he made that choice.
And I'm surprised that he came out saying that he thought it was a great adaptation. I mean, remember when this was originally being talked about, it was going to be the movie followed by an HBO series that interconnected with the movie, followed by another movie, and then the continuation of the series and a finale. and they couldn't get it off the ground because they destroyed the story with the first movie so badly.
They
I
did.
mean,
And
that was one of the first ones that I saw that just got absolutely destroyed by Hollywood. I mean,
right.
there
It
was
totally
nothing
did.
redeeming about that movie to me. And Idris Elba did do a good job. McConaughey was crap.
Dude,
That was the
McConaughey
worst
had
performance I've seen from him.
he had the potential to be a fabulous Man in Black. But like it
He
they
phoned
didn't
it in.
Yeah, he did. He did because like the Man in Black, especially as you see him in the books, is he's a very dark character, but he has like a twisted sense of humor about it all that McConaughey didn't bring to the character. He didn't, because like even when he's taunting Roland in like the wastelands in the way station and inside the mountain right before Jake dies, like you could tell he has a little bit of a sense of humor to where he's poking at Roland being like, ha 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 ha, fuck you. But he didn't bring that to the movie. And Matthew McConaughey very easily could have brought that to the movie, but it wasn't there.
He never seemed like the ageless bad guy that has more knowledge than the hero either. I mean, he had more knowledge, but he didn't. I mean, the Man in Black is the same guy that's been, in The Stand. He's been in Through the Eyes of the Dragon. I mean, and that's a medieval, sci-fi fantasy type thing. Really, it's a retelling of The Man in the Iron Mask, but I mean, Randall Flagg is supposed to be ancient or Walter or whatever you want to call him.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it just felt like Matthew McConaughey, being kind of goofy Matthew McConaughey, but at the same time they brought in stuff like, some of the dialogue was just horrible, talking about the shine and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it had no place in the Dark Tower as far as, what they were trying to do with it. They just kind of forced it into the story, and it didn't work.
It didn't. That's why I have to disconnect with so much media these days. But just real quick, hello Blair to Blair. I'm glad you could make it. Brightest day. Glad to see you, sir. I saw that you're having a lot of fun recording your audiobooks. You understand why I don't do them now.
Getting down to the end of that book.
Indeed. Hello, JT Gunter. I'm glad you could make it, sir. Glad you could make it. But yeah, the Dark Tower, like I was half excited at the idea of a miniseries or even a full-length run, because you could turn all of those books into a fantastically epic show.
Yeah, that bridges genres too, because you'd have the Western, you'd have
the sci-fi,
the new
with like
modern day drama, the sci-fi in the wastelands and stuff.
I just, in my brain, I see Blaine, the train, being such a badass addition into a television series, because he's a psychotic AI that wants to just fucking kill everybody and solve my riddle or die, and it's like a cracked out version of the riddle of the Sphinx kind of thing. And it was like that was such a great thing in the books that like I feel like they could do that well on screen. They could do a whole episode where they're just trying to figure out how to stop Blaine, but
2 or 3 episodes if they wanted to. I mean,
and once I saw how they went with like casting and stuff like that, because they had started casting and I think they had even started filming the show, but then they just scrapped it. And now I'm looking at everything that we're getting, Rings of Power. We're looking at, of course, all of these flopping CW shows, all of the flopping Disney Plus bullshit. And I'm all like, please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't, because you're just going to ruin it. You can't ever ruin the books for me, but at this point, I don't think I'd ever watch the Dark Tower series.
But the other thing about it is, when you get an adaptation that's that bad, we're not going to see it get tackled again.
Nope.
I mean, the book readers are going to be the only ones who know how truly good it was. I mean, the same thing's going on with the Wheel of Time right now, and it's disturbing and sad, because that's another epic fantasy series. It's huge in its scope, and everything is already done in the books. You don't have to redo it,
right?
They
tell
feel they
the
have
story.
to.
Just tell the story. That's all we ask for as fans, is just tell the story that we know.
Yep.
Like, I understand creative adaptations because certain concepts don't translate from literature onto film. But those books, like most of Stephen King's stuff, translates great to film if he's not involved.
Yeah.
Because that man knows how to fuck up a film franchise. That man knows how to mess up his own stories because that man is an idiot. But
that's true. Well, and he can't write an ending to save his life. The Dark Tower is one of the only endings that was,
and that didn't, that wasn't
justifiable
even
and okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't even a true ending.
No, I mean, how he gets rid of the Crimson King is one of the dumbest moments in it in the whole story.
Yep.
Like the adaptation. Yeah, the adaptation of The Mist.
Hi, Janet.
The producers of that movie actually had a better ending than what Stephen King did in the short story by far.
Right, for sure. Like
I'd always just end up driving in the short story.
Yeah, I always loved the idea of being able to be in the Dark Tower series as an actor. And now I'm like, okay, never going to work for Netflix. Never going to work for Disney. Probably not ever going to work for Warner, even though they're the dream company that I wanted to work for because of the stories they used to put out. Yeah. But now that they decided that Hal Jordan is, what did they call him? He's one of those alphabet people now.
Oh, okay.
All of a sudden, they've decided. And I'm like, how
isn't everybody now?
Might as well be. I mean, I do love their binary and non-binary classification systems, just automatically making them another binary system.
Yeah.
Idiots. Hail, Christian fandom geek. Glad to see you, sir. But anywho, are there did you ever get into any of the Dean Koontz novels and stuff? Like the Frankenstein series that he did?
I haven't read much of Koontz. I think I read one, and it was about a virus, and what wasn't Crichton.
Yeah.
But,
so if you liked the Dark Tower series, you should totally check out Dean Koontz Frankenstein series. Okay. It's like the original author, Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's technically an adaptation of that book, but he takes it as like that telling was historically accurate. And now Frankenstein and his monster are in modern times. And the monster goes by Deucalion in this one, and he has a bunch of really cool stuff, like being able to like find tears in reality to like teleport and shit like that. And it's actually really cool. But like just the storyline behind it all, the characters that Dean Koontz put into the book were fantastic. And like there's a character, Jocko, that like is absolutely ridiculous. He's kind of like Dobby, but looks like Quasimodo. And like he's incredibly self-destructive. Like when he messes up, like he bangs his head into walls, or he like shoves corkscrews up his nose, and like all kinds of crazy shit like that. And like, but it's dark as hell, but it's a fun journey. And so are the
fleshes out things.
Yeah, Christopher Snow is also a fantastic book series. I think there's only like 3 or 4, but it's on the same level as the Odd Thomas series. So if you like Frankenstein, Odd Thomas, and Christopher Snow, 3 best Dean Koontz series that ever came out.
All right, I'll check them out.
Yeah, totally worth the read.
Right now, I've been reading a whole bunch of kind of a newer genre. It's I can get them, all free on the Kindle. But the lit RPG stuff has been interesting, which is kind of like what Ready Player One kind of. Ready Player One wasn't the first, but it was the one that kind of brought it back into attention to a degree. And it's, you get trapped in an RPG video game, AI simulator type thing.
Yeah.
And you're living out your life there. So like you got the fantasy tropes, but then you've got, the main hero kind of levels up by doing different things all the time, gets new abilities, all that kind of stuff. So they're interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a fun read because they're very, poppy, and that, it's usually 150 pages a book, but there are some that are up to like 10 or 12 different books, and it just keeps going on because you just keep leveling up. So kind of like a video game.
Yep. Oh, dude, Blair to Blair. They did a TV movie in 2003 based on that Kuntz series. I'm assuming you're talking about the atrocity that was the Frankenstein movie, because I tried to like that movie with every fiber of my being, but it was garbage. Hated
Sometimes they
every
make it hard.
second of it. And they were like, "Oh, we got 3 movies planned." They released that one, and it was like, "Never mind. That was such a bad idea." It's like, why can't they have that same mentality with numbered sequels these days?
Well, and I've kind of found that that's one of the issues, especially with our little corner of YouTube, is, if it's your fandom, yeah, you're not going to like the movies that are coming out. Like, I'm
Right.
not a comic book reader.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange 2 was a perfectly serviceable movie to me. It was average to good, was not great, may not have followed what the characters are supposed to be doing. I don't know. I'm not a comic book reader.
Right.
So, you know, there's certain things like Lord of the Rings that a lot of us are going to agree on. The Rings of Power is going to be crap.
It's going to be so bad.
But there's other things like, Gary, some of the bigger guys, Wheel of Time is not on their, on their radar at all.
Right.
So if they were to see the show, they're probably going to think, it's a poorly produced show, but it's, interesting story, whatever.
Yeah.
And the book readers are going absolutely nuts because there is a few of us in the corner that are like, no, what you guys are saying about Rings of Power is the same thing they just did with Wheel of Time, stuff like that. So it really depends on which part of the fandom you're in as to, whether you're going to be pissed off at something or not.
Right.
And that's the weird part of this is we all know that the normies aren't going to care either way. It's either a good movie or a bad movie.
It's because the normies, like Janet said, Janet from Another Planet, she said that the normies don't know any better. And It's true. It's like me watching a lot of the comic book movies that come out. Like, people are all like, oh, well, this violates the comic continuity. This, didn't fit with the character as it was written. And I was like, this was a good movie.
Yeah.
As a movie. Like, and the thing that I'm
entertained.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I'm getting really sick of, though, is their reliance on both time travel and the idea of multiple universes. Like, it has its place in certain contexts, but when that becomes your whole selling point, is the fact that, hey, different timeline, like, oh, this happened in the past, now everything is different, and stuff like that. It got old faster than any other trope that I've seen.
Yeah.
Because,
well, it also takes out any meaning of anything for these stories, because if somebody dies, it's like, okay, well, we can just go to one of the other 10,000 multiverses and pull them back in, even if it's a different actor. So there's no meaning to somebody dying.
And that takes away from the story. And they don't want to admit it. And that pisses me off, because when you start violating continuity, when you start violating the simple rules that go into viewer engagement, it feels like you're trying too hard, and it feels like individuals don't have the creative juices to make their own story. They have to tear something else apart, especially with a multiverse. Toxic Man Flu. It works for Rick and Morty, but that is the point of Rick and Morty. See, that's just it. When you make it the point, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, when that's the idea, sweet. But when you give me, say, 30 movies, and then you just decide you're going to change everything.
Right. I mean, it's a
Why
it's
would
a
I
reset.
watch that?
It's a reset button that makes the other 30 movies not have no stakes, no meaning, nothing.
It's over reliance on convenient Deus Ex Machinas that exist. The gods in the machine that they decide they want to use don't make sense a lot of the time. The multiverse stuff, random resurrections, like, I died, just kidding. Like, let's go back in time and change it. It's all like, that's not how time works. Yeah. Like, even if you look at it from a theoretical physics perspective, that's not how time works. Like, you can't go back and fix something because you move a chair in the past, and the next thing you know, Hitler's the president of the United States.
The
It's
butterfly
just,
effect.
yeah, especially with time. That's the understanding that I have of time. I'm not a physicist, but I like to think that I have a basic understanding of time flowing one direction, but
yeah,
I used to love time travel, for instance, like Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap was a fantastic show. Like, him just jumping back in his own time frame, the twisted knot theories, like stuff like that was intriguing and awesome and fun. But then it became a normal trope. But now we got the multiverse, and DC's doing it, Marvel's doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if they started doing multiverses for like My Little Pony and shit. Like it's just their new thing. And like,
we'll have a Lord of the Rings multiverse soon.
Oh, yeah.
That's essentially what they're doing with the Rings of Power anyway. They're just
right.
Yeah. I mean, Quantum Leap, that kind of stuff was fun because that was what it was predicated on.
Yep.
Stargate is fun because it doesn't really have anything to do with time or a multiverse, but it's
and even when it does,
you're jumping realities into another world, that kind of thing.
And even when Stargate was dealing with multiverse and time travel and stuff, they made it to where it wasn't just something you did. Like, oh, we hit a solar flare. Oops. Like, we removed some safety protocols and it screwed us. Yeah. Or, like when they did the multiverse thing where they were like, let's shift into other realities with this mirror. They didn't overdo it where they were like, oh, let's drag these people in. Now we have 2 Samantha Carters all the time, and we have this and that. And they all start going into quantum degradation. And like, they added things to make sure that you couldn't just be in different universes, like different realities, different timelines and stuff like that, because it was unnecessary for the show. But if that's one of the worries that I have with the new Stargate, not only is it being written by machines, but there's the chance that they're just going to be like, let's use the quantum mirror.
Yeah.
Do whatever we want.
It's been introduced in the past, so now we can just use it whenever we want.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Trek did a little of the same stuff. I mean, there were some good time traveling Star Trek episodes, or where you're, stuck in a quantum loop type thing. And those were interesting episodes. But then, we get movies with the time travel stuff, and they're not that good.
Hail Godzillionaire. My Little Pony Multiverse of Madness. Crossover with Transformers. Oh, wait, they already did. Indeed. But, so with modern entertainment, what are some of the more enjoyable things that you've seen recently? Fucking bot.
Nuke it. Well, like I was saying, Yellowstone. Yellowstone's been pretty much fantastic. And, we're always talking about the having to make a, female character that is overpowered or whatever. But Beth is a great character in Yellowstone, and she's just over the top, but she's also realistic. I mean, she's just doesn't take shit off anybody. So I'd rather have that than have the female character that's, kind of being forced to be a strong female character.
Okay.
And obviously it's being written this way, but she's still realistic in the way that they do it.
Reacher
was great.
Okay. Reacher was a fantastic show. But compared to The Killing Floor, the actual book, the lady cop, she's not what she is in the show. No, she's not. She's actually a little bit more timid. She's a little bit more held back. She's not as a badass, get in Reacher's face like, I'm a strong woman. Like, she's not like that in the book, because the book is about Reacher. But like, that show was fantastic. And it's little things. Of course, I'm a purist when it comes to Jack Reacher. Like, I hated when they had Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
Because he's 5'2".
Well, it was basically another Mission Impossible / Jason Bourne mix. I mean, it wasn't a Reacher thing.
It was a standard Tom Cruise movie. Yeah. Like, they could have named it anything else, and it probably would have done better, in my opinion.
And
But
sometimes that should be the way that they should go. I mean, if they're going to do these adaptations, just name it something else and let
yeah,
people take the clues that this is coming from this material, but we're not
yeah. I mean,
really doing that material.
do you remember when things used to be inspired by stuff instead
Yeah.
of this is it with different paint? Like, inspiration is dead these days, in my opinion, too. Like, at
I
least
think
in the main, like, the corporate content sphere.
in the
So,
main, yeah, I mean, creativity is dead in the
yep.
corporate sphere. I mean, what we're getting pumped out of, the kids that are going to college right now and getting all this crap stuffed into their heads are not coming out with original thoughts. They're coming out with what they've been programmed to think. So that's what we're getting in our entertainment too, because
Yep.
the entertainment industry is only hiring from those kids that are coming through the colleges where they're getting what they want them to get.
Tell me about
So,
it.
I mean, you got
Like,
stuff like, Rip is going to be putting out his Ripaverse, that kind of stuff. And we may see something new and great out of that because that's not where Hollywood's getting their stuff from. I mean, they're getting it from, canned storylines or, having to adapt stuff that we loved
yeah,
into, what they want it to be now.
right. Yeah. So JT Gunter says, I was a fan of TC in Reacher, but I didn't read the books. And that's totally fine. I mean, Reacher as a series is a standalone, like, powerhouse. It's going to do well. They need to continue to do it with the same formula they had in this one. And that's where I feel a lot of, like, this is not an outward attack on our community, but y'all need to open your minds a little bit. It doesn't have to be true to the source material to be good entertainment. You just have to learn how to disconnect with what you know about it with what you're being presented. And that's why, like, a lot of the Marvel stuff that's come out in the last few years, like, I stopped watching a couple of years ago, but like a lot of stuff that was coming out around then, I just started viewing as fan fiction or as a, a shitty reissue
Sure.
of some of the stuff that was coming out. And like with Reacher, for instance, like, they only changed a couple details. So I have absolutely no problem with the show. It was fantastic, especially when he starts taking out those, like, the hitman, like, he just, like, bow, bow, quick, clean, simple. He's like, what's up? And then he breaks the dude's leg, put him in the trunk. So good. But, like, that's a major problem that I see within, say, the fandom or the fellowship or whatever we're calling it these days, is the fact that most of them come across as purists. And unfortunately, if you want to enjoy anything that comes out today, you can't be a purist for source material. I will not hold that exception for Star Wars. They're trash and they need to fuck off. That being said, I will make that exception for certain things like Jack Reacher, because it's a good piece of entertainment. And that's all we're looking for. It's good entertainment.
Well, and like I was saying with Doctor Strange too, I was entertained. I mean, I don't know the source material. I can't speak to the source material. But I mean, we've got to stop telling people that they can't be entertained by things that if they don't know the source material, they don't know what's screwed up. If it's still entertaining, it's entertaining. But yeah, I mean, I can understand where some of the people are coming from.
Yeah.
You want to see a good adaptation. You don't want to see it get destroyed. But most of the people who haven't paid attention to the source material aren't going to know that it's a bad adaptation.
Right.
There are good movies and bad movies. There are good television series and bad television series.
Yes. This is very much true.
That's a separate thing from whether it's well adapted.
Right. So Vince Womack says Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and one or two others were all inspired by the same source material. Yes, I believe his name was Ed Gein. Ed Gein. Not a nice man. I studied him for quite a while when I was studying sexual sadists for a paper. But anyway, Lasso of Truth says, I can't open my mind to a black I can't say that name.
Valerian.
Thank you. From the House of Dragon or a black Superman. Not familiar with the House of Dragons stuff, but the Black Superman stuff, I agree. Not if he's going to be Clark Kent. Simply because Clark Kent, for the last almost 100 fucking years, has been a white dude from Kansas. If you want to give a black guy Kryptonian abilities, awesome. Introduce a new character. I know that's really hard these days, but introduce a new character. I come up with new characters all the time, but I'm not a mainstream content creator.
But I think that's also where us in the fandom, the fellowship, whatever, that's where we can come to agreement.
Yes, absolutely.
Stop race swapping, stop gender swapping.
And
that has nothing
retconning.
to do with the adaptation.
Yeah, stop retconning in general.
Yeah.
It's because the race is very little in the way of importance for these characters. Like, I loved Static Shock. I loved Blade. I loved my brain's breaking. Luke Cage.
Right.
Like, most worthless addition that you could ever have in a space battle, but Luke Cage was a badass. I mean, shoot him up with bullets, stab him, don't matter. Hit him with a laser, and that's kind of a problem, but
Yeah.
But like, those were all fantastic black characters. They didn't need any changes. They didn't need, like, I didn't watch the Luke Cage television show because from like episode 1, I heard it was garbage. But like, that's like Jax almost from Mortal Kombat, you can't go wrong with that. Like, if you want to stereotype a black guy, stereotype him towards Terry Cruz's build and attitude, like, don't try to make him a black guy with the mindset of a white guy raised in Kansas.
Well, and Blade did well on its own, before all of this stuff was really a thing. So it can be done, and it can be done right. You don't have to force it the way it's being forced now.
No, not at all. I mean, you just made me realize that some of my least favorite superhero movies have Ryan Reynolds in them.
I still like Ryan Reynolds.
I like Ryan Reynolds. Just like
the superhero movies, not that great. Deadpool, I think he's fantastic.
Dude, he's a natural Deadpool. Yeah. Because that's kind of how he is. But it's like Hal Jordan. No, I would have rather seen Chris Pine as Hal Jordan, even if it was just for the looks. That Green Lantern movie was pretty bad. But
it was Ryan Reynolds playing Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern and that.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds shouldn't play Ryan Reynolds unless he's Deadpool.
Or Van Wilder.
Oh my gosh. Now that was a fantastic movie.
Yeah. I've watched that movie so many times.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That was, I think, my first real exposure to Ryan Reynolds. And
I think I've had these
he hooked me there.
Yeah. The dog screwing
the pastry.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the balls are deflated.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Man, the things we used to get away with in entertainment.
Well, and the things that comedies, I mean, we don't have comedies anymore.
We don't. It's all walking on eggshell comedy these days. And I hate that because as a comedian, nothing is safe. You don't have a safe space in comedy. I'm sorry.
It's supposed to be.
As a comedian, this is my own personal view on it. So however you guys feel, that's fine. But as a comedian, I'm going to joke about abortion. I'm going to joke about you being black. I'm going to joke about Mexicans. I'm going to joke about white people. I'm going to joke about religion. I'm going to joke about sexual orientation. Because guess what? As a comedian, either everything is on the table or nothing is. Because censoring comedy is one of the gravest missteps that you could ever have in your life.
And that's really where South Park has kind of shined in this space. Is they're still going, and it's because they burn everybody. And that's what comedy's supposed to be. There's not supposed to be a line.
No, you're supposed to take the things in life that make you uncomfortable and turn them into something funny so you can cope with them. I mean, that's what comedy's all about.
One of my favorite comics is Anthony Jeselnik, and he is one of the darkest comics out there. And all he does is say things that should get him canceled at all times. and he's great. Everything he does, and I don't agree with him on 90% of probably what his takes would be, but the jokes are funny, and that's what matters if you're doing comedy.
Exactly.
It can be offensive. I can absolutely say that was going too far, but I'm not going to tell him he can't do that joke. I mean, that's the ridiculous thing.
Exactly. Because guess what? Feelings don't dictate life. We should make entertainment entertaining again. Because I miss Sam Kinison, George Carlin. I miss Ralphie May. I miss, the guys who would stand up on stage and just talk about how, like, some fat ass black chick was assaulting them in an elevator with their body odor or some shit like that. Back when you could talk about anything. But now we got Chappelle stuff, getting tackled on stage, and now that guy's not facing any felony charges. But guess what? Chappelle is now civilly liable for whatever happened to that guy, which I can understand because they kind of fucked that guy up. But
if it was on an NFL field or an NBA court and they, ran out there, they're going to get their asses tackled too. And yeah, he may have gotten jacked up, but he's the one that chose to go out there. I think what it kind of boils down to is, I heard this all the time as a kid. I'm sure you did too, because we're not too dissimilar in age, but life isn't fair.
No.
And that used to be a saying, and nobody in these last couple generations seems to have heard that enough. Right. Everything has to be fair now. And it used to be for, all of human time, life isn't fair.
Right.
Get over it.
Yeah, for real. So JT Gunter says, truth, does Corey get notices when people drop a tip for him? I do, when I actually remember to open the Ko-Fi. Now, JT for $3 says, keep up the good work. Thank you, JT Gunter. I appreciate it. I just forget to open Ko-Fi because I'm not used to getting money on this yet. So thank you, JT. It's much appreciated. That'll go towards getting the premium StreamYard stuff going, so I can get rid of that big old logo in the corner up there and actually have a background. So it'll be great. It'll be great. Felt Ryan was impersonating Chevy Chase in Van Wilder.
Maybe to a degree, but at the same time, that's kind of been Ryan Reynolds' thing ever since too. So
yeah.
Either Ryan Reynolds is Chevy Chase or,
Yeah.
It may have been exaggerated. Maybe Chevy Chase style.
Yeah. And see, Chevy Chase brought something to comedy that a lot of people lack these days. And that's an intensity that allows you to be funny in the most extreme circumstances. Like Chevy Chase in any of the National Lampoon movies, for instance. Those kinds of situations, I don't feel like anyone could have presented them as hilariously as he did without making them seem like this guy's kind of a fuck up, can't really connect with the character, it's not really that funny. Like, I hate Chevy Chase as a person. Just don't like him. Got my reasons. But
he's kind of a prick.
I would absolutely go watch another Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray movie. Like, you put those three in it, I'll go see it. I don't give a fuck what it is. Because they know how to do comedy. They might be terrible fucking people as human beings, but they're as entertainers and as the dancing monkeys that they're supposed to be, they're great. Because entertainers are supposed to just entertain, right?
Yeah, these aren't the smartest people out there. No. I mean, most of them don't even finish, high school and college because they're too busy chasing their dream. Some of them may have some common sense. Some of them may actually be book smart, but these are not our philosophers out there. No. These are actors.
Yeah, the moment Kim Kardashian becomes your personal Marcus Aurelius, just check out. Just go away. I'm not encouraging you to kill yourself, but maybe take some lithium or, some other strong antipsychotics to make you not feel that way anymore. Because we started idolizing reality TV back when we should have kept idolizing like the values of our heroes. Because back in the day, I didn't want to be Superman. I didn't want to be Hal Jordan. I didn't want to be any of these people, but I wanted to embody what they stood for. And now we don't even have that. I mean,
yeah, we're changing the moral codes.
Yeah. And when we get to Dark Philosophy, Wednesday night on the 18th, and so on and so forth, we will talk in depth about those kinds of things. We'll talk about morality, and we'll talk about, you know,
the deeper topics.
The deeper topics, but I'm still going to keep it nice and twisted and semi-light until it's, as they say in the Expendables, you keep it light until it's time to go dark, and then you go pitch black. So, I mean, it's going to be a good time. So, what do you got going on in the near future, bro? Content-wise?
Well, content-wise, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. I mean, the video thing is, I enjoy these kinds of talks. I enjoy paneling. I enjoy talking with people. I don't enjoy talking to a camera. And honestly, I have a lot more ums, and everything else when I'm trying to keep a train of thought going for a video, and they're sloppy. And that may just be because I'm new to this.
It is.
I'm 40 years old. You know, I've never edited anything before.
Right.
So the video thing is a whole new world. And my kids who actually would know how to do this really don't care to help me with any of it. So
I can understand that. Yeah.
So I'm going to keep paneling. I may start a panel of my own probably on Sundays, because that seems to be one of the freer days. Yeah. And honestly, what I think I want to do is take my panels and then cut those into videos about whatever the topics are, and just do, 5-10 minute videos. So people who don't catch the panel or don't want to watch a 1.5 to 2 hour replay, kind of get a taste of what's going on the channel. So
that's a great idea.
That's kind of the hope of where I want to get to. I want to find a co-host that, if we can't pull somebody in, I at least have somebody to talk to, so we don't have to cancel the show either. So
yeah,
I can't do what you do and do an hour of talking to myself. It doesn't translate well.
Well, it helps that I've had external dialogues with myself for a few decades now.
Yeah,
I didn't start using the other voices until recently. But
I mean, for now, I'm just when people want me on, I'm happy to do it because I like talking to new people.
Hell yeah!
So
hell yeah! And what you said is a great idea. So, see, this is the truth of my live streams. The chat helps Corey. Yeah. It does. Without the chat, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be spending time to do all this because you guys are the reason I'm here. Sure, I brought the random ball guy from the internet, but the chat, the fans, and the awesome people that are out there are the reason we do what we do. And like Brahmabull, I am selfishly using this as a means to connect with other people. And I'm not ashamed of that, because I spent a long time not talking with other people. So it's kind of a good thing that I'm not going to go closet recluse. So your goal, your thoughts, your process that you think you're going to do sounds fantastic. Honestly,
I hope it'll work, because I'm not in this to get rich or anything. I mean, it's freaking YouTube. It's a hobby.
It's a hobby.
But I mean, we have lots of people that are other streamers and in the chat that they're good people. It'll be fun doing meetups. I mean, of course, it's not going to be a Corey and Brahma meetup. It's going to be going to somebody else's meetup, and maybe somebody will recognize us. But we get to meet all those other people that we see in everybody else's chats, and that we interact with in everybody else's chats.
Yep.
But part of the interesting thing about being on YouTube is, you were saying, that you'd probably be a recluse. I don't do public speaking very well, but YouTube doesn't feel like public speaking, because normally I'm watching the screen and talking to you. I mean, I'm watching the chat also, and we interact with the chat, but it's not like you see, 40 to 1,000 people in front of you while you're trying to talk. You're just having a conversation. Yeah. And I think more people should jump in and take a shot at it.
Yeah, and as a person who's been on stage and stuff like that in front of hundreds of people, and I can't say thousands because that's never happened, but like it's very different when you can actually see the people that you're doing the show for. It makes you a lot more self-conscious. It makes you a lot more nervous. And I hate public speaking. I hate public announces, stuff like that. But like, I'll do it. Like one of my favorite things about doing like public announcer work is most of the time they stick you in a booth.
Yeah, you're
like, you
separated
can't
from
see
everybody.
me. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage. Like that's easy. But like, like when I think about Culture Casino's idea of us doing like YAPC live, for instance.
Yeah, that would be a lot different.
Like if it's like 20 people and we're live streaming to the rest of the world, I'm cool with that. But like once you break about 30 people, I start having panic attacks, depending on the size of the room.
Yeah, and it's not just being on stage either. It can be just people who don't like to do public speaking. Even if it's just in a business meeting and you're called on to give a quick 5-minute presentation.
Yeah.
If you got the nerves there, you're going to get the nerves. The nice thing is you can usually press through it, and most people understand the fear of public speaking. I just find it funny that YouTube does not feel the same as other forms of public speaking, even though we probably have a bigger audience that might actually see us than anything we would do in our everyday lives.
Right.
But
no,
it's
totally
weird.
Agree. It is weird. And, like as a streamer, as streamers, I should say, like, it's easy to get distracted from how many people are watching at any given time, just by the fact that you are having a conversation with friends or, coworkers, whatever you want to classify them as, acquaintances, however you want to go there. But, sorry, Godzillionaire broke my brain with this. That welcome to the stage voice sounded like a stripper intro. I could do that. Yeah.
Now performing on stage.
Welcome to the stage, Sapphire. Like number one most used mineral name for strippers, Sapphire. Don't ask me why I know that.
Not Jade?
Nope. Sapphire. Jade is third.
What's second?
Ruby.
If you know. Ruby? That kind of
Nobody ever uses calcite. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If you're going to pick minerals, go big. Go calcite. With a name like calcite, she's hot.
Go with pyrite, fool's gold.
Yeah, right. That could be a trans stripper's name. Pyrite. The blonde
somewhere
hair
in
is
Thailand, there's a whole bunch of pyrite.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
What the other funny part about doing the YouTube thing though is it is exhausting doing this, doing the panel type stuff, because you're looking for your time where you get in to get your point. You're paying attention to what everybody else is saying, or you're supposed to be, because you got to stay part of the conversation. And you're trying to interact with chat and have different conversations going on with chat at the same time. So, after a 2 or 3 hour stream, I'm physically and mentally exhausted. And I would never think that, just talking with people would be that exhausting. But there are so many things going on when you're doing this. And like I've only been doing it a few months. So I'm still getting used to how things work, but it's fun. And it actually does, I don't sleep well. So after an exhausting stream, I get to go to sleep, and that's kind of nice. When your hobby actually is healthy for you too.
Right. Yeah. See, that's actually why I stop after 2 hours on, both Yelling at Parked Cars and Thursday Night Throwdown. I stop at 11 because it gets me amped up, like, to talk about stuff on these streams. And then it, like, after a certain amount of time, like, I start feeling that drag where I'm like, okay, we've been at this for a long time. The chair is hurting my back. I'm tired. Like, we've got some great points out there. I'm going to bounce, because like even after I get off stream, when it's, late at night, 10 o'clock at night, our time, I need at least 2 to 3 hours to decompress from the live stream. So I'm still up until 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning most nights, but it's just decompression from everything that we went through, processing and escapism and alone time.
Or how did I screw up? How did I screw up tonight? What did I say
wrong? I used to worry about stuff like that. I did. I for a long time, been on Yelling at Park Cars for over a year now, and I'm like, how long are they going to put up with my ass? Like, there was a time period there where I'm like, I'm the equivalent of a pity fuck. And then there was...
I know that feeling.
Where I'm like, oh, well, I'm just here to read stuff. And this and that and the other stuff. Like, I'm convincing myself of reasons why I'm not going to be on the panel for much longer because self-defeating principles and stuff. But, then I get involved with Comics Division, talking with them stuff, helping them with projects on the backside of things, and, communicating with Toxic Man Flu, Nick Weiser, all those guys. And
feel a part of it.
Yeah, those feelings go away. But there's always going to be that thing for me where I'm all like, okay, is today the day they give me the axe? Am I going to fuck up today?
Well, and yeah, I get that feeling completely, because I mean, what's kind of happened with me getting on with you guys has been kind of a crazy ride, because I really had no background, and you guys just kind of took me in after that one, appearance, and it was just like, wow. I mean,
yeah,
this is not being on, a little stream of my own where I've got 3 people watching and, that kind of thing. It's, we've got hundreds of people watching. We've got thousands of people watching afterwards. So
right.
It's a little unnerving sometimes, just because it's like, what am I doing here? But it's fun.
Right.
I enjoy it. I look forward to every Monday and Thursday.
Every time.
Yeah.
But we're nearing our hour mark, so go ahead and pitch your channel.
Yeah, go check out the channel. It's mostly politics, so some people are going to like it, some people are going to absolutely hate it. But I am going to try to do some more stuff on there. And like we were talking about earlier, I think trying to get the Sunday live stream. I mean, I've made enough appearances that now I think I can ask some people to be on every now and then. So, and I think some people want to, because it'll be a little bit different than doing the pop and entertainment talk. I mean, I don't want to get into arguments or anything, but politics is part of all of this too. And I mean, that's kind of, I've been like, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh when I was like 6 or 7 years old. I grew up on politics. And you may not agree with my politics. That's fine. I mean, not you specifically, but everybody. But the whole thing is, we need to have the conversations, and it's a little bit more dangerous on YouTube to be in the politics talk. But that's kind of what I know and what I want to do. And if we can cut that into videos, then that saves me a lot of work trying to do something I don't know how to do. So
right.
But go check out the channel.
Yes. Subscribe to Brahmabull.
And make sure you check us out tonight in a few hours.
Yes. Catch us tonight on Yelling at Park Cars. It should be a good time. I believe we have Adam Krigler on tonight. It's going to be fantastic. Newest Dick's Division commercial is going to be popping up, if I'm remembering things correctly. Recreational choices and all that. But next week I will be going full swing on this. So we'll be talking with TalksALot Monday. Going to have a voiceover comedy recorded for Tuesday. Wednesday will be the Dark Philosophy stream. Thursday, I'm hoping to get a review out on Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie, because I haven't seen it yet, and I'm a Joker freak. So I need to watch that, and I'm going to give my honest opinion on it. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's going to be nothing. So I'm taking weekends off because I can. So.
Well, and thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
It was an enjoyable conversation. It's my first one-on-one with somebody.
Oh, nice. Well, that's what I like to do. I don't like the large panel stuff when it's my channel. However, when I get to 500, I will be doing my first large panel. I'll be inviting all the guests, figuring out a time for that, and we're going to see about having a stacked panel. So
sweet.
Let's get to 500. And
thank you, chat, for joining us today.
Yes, indeed. And we will catch you next time. Stay sexy and don't get murdered.
Cheers.
Hi. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more of it and more like it, then donate to the Ko-Fi link in the description.